Alright, so I'm Courtney and I'm going to be the counselor, and this is Jenna, who's going to be Elizabeth, who is my client. I'm working as an LADC at Pioneer Recovery Center in Cloquet. It's a high-intensity residential treatment program. The agency is a co-occurring disorders facility, and I will be counseling women over the age of 18. So my client's name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a 22-year-old female who was court-ordered to come to treatment due to a probation violation. She's 5 months pregnant with her first child. She's addicted to alcohol. She started drinking when she was 16 years old. Her mother was an alcoholic and her father was addicted to methamphetamine. Her grandfather on her mother's side was also an alcoholic. Her mother has a history of being diagnosed with depression and PTSD. Elizabeth has very severe depression due to being abused by her parents at a very young age and from being in many abusive relationships. She was also sexually abused by her uncle when she was 10 years old. Elizabeth was in and out of foster care starting when she was 12 years old due to her parents being abusive. Elizabeth has a history of suicidal ideations and was hospitalized 4 years ago due to attempting suicide. She completed a diagnostic assessment at Miller DeWan and was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and PTSD. She's homeless and unemployed and has been trying to find employment so that she can get a house for her and her unborn child to live. She was living with her boyfriend for 2 years and got kicked out of his house after they got into an argument. Her boyfriend hit her and she called the police and was able to file for an order for protection. Alright, that's it.
Okay.
So, hi Elizabeth.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Doing okay.
Okay. How was your weekend?
It was really boring.
It was boring?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find anything to do?
Well, there's not much to do on the weekends. I did my chores. We watched a couple movies. And we baked some cookies.
Okay.
And that's about it. I did some of my homework, read a little bit.
Okay, good. So did you feel, how was your depression over the weekend? Did you feel like it's gotten better, or did it, I know sometimes on the weekends when you don't have anything to do, it sometimes can be a little hard for you.
Well, I just try to keep myself busy because I find that helpful, because otherwise, if I'm thinking about it, it's kind of something that's there, especially now that I'm in here. And then being around others that don't really want to be here makes it somewhat difficult sometimes, but try to just ignore them.
Okay. So what I want to start with today is I want to kind of talk to you about your goals for treatment. You're about halfway through. So where do you want your depression to be at when you're done with treatment here?
I would like it to be somewhat stabilized. I'd like to possibly learn about like some ways to kind of cope with it better. Because I know that it's always going to be there, but I feel that if I am able to find ways to cope with it better, then I won't be using drugs and alcohol as to mask it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm hoping just to learn new ways of living.
Okay. All right. So your goal, you just want to get it stabilized. Do you feel like it's getting stabilized, or do you feel like you need to work on it a little bit more?
I need to work on it.
Okay. Do you know what you'd like to work on while you are working on it?
Maybe some positive affirmations. Do you have any self-help books that will help me?
Yeah, okay. I can get you one of those. And you can just kind of read it at your own pace, and we can just talk about it. So basically what I want to kind of go over is what your symptoms have been like. And so what are some of your symptoms when you have your depression?
Just get really sad and just like I think about like I guess my self-esteem gets lower, and I guess that's something else I need to work on, is self-esteem. And you know, just being in here, you know, and being homeless and being unemployed, you know, it's kind of my bottom. So I guess I just need to kind of just work at getting better, so that I can find a job and I can support my child, and I can, you know, just get on some housing lists. And so I guess once, you know, I think that will help too, is like once I start seeing like what do you call it, progress. Once I start seeing progress, maybe that will help me a little bit. And maybe if I work on like self-esteem and some positive affirmations and read some self-help books, maybe that will help.
Okay. So what are some ways that you've dealt with your depression since you've been here?
By doing chores and just keeping myself busy.
Okay, good. All right. So what I want to see for next week is I want you to kind of make a thought diary. And so what I want you to do is at the beginning and end of each day, I want you to write down kind of what your thoughts are and what you're feeling. So say you're feeling sad and you're thinking, I really want to drink right now. I want you to write those kinds of things down. And I also want you to write down if you're feeling good. So I am thinking about, say there's something fun going on, or you're thinking about going to a AA meeting. So you're thinking about going to the AA meeting and you're feeling good. And so I want you to kind of write those things down and kind of at least do them in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, and then kind of fill in between those two times if you can, and then we'll talk about them next week. Because what I want to do to get you more stabilized is kind of get you to see, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, and this is how we're going to deal with it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And so then when you're done with that, then I want you to go back and write what coping skills you used. And just kind of, and they can be basic, they don't have to be long or drawn out or whatever. They can just be, I use deep breathing exercises, and then just write down, did it help, did it not help, and then we're gonna talk about it next week. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And then I want to get you on some housing lists so that we can get you some housing for when you get out. And then I know you filed for an order for protection with your boyfriend. How is that going? Has he tried to contact you?
No.
Okay, good. So I'm really happy that we're getting you on the housing list, because we gotta try to get you out of that environment, because it's not safe for you or your child. And it's gonna be really important that you make sure that you're not having contact with him just so that you can keep yourself safe. And I know that he is usually a trigger for you to start feeling depressed and wanting to drink. So I think it's good that if you just stay away from him like you've been doing.
Okay.
And then next week I'm thinking about, once we get the thought journal done and everything, then we will work on coping skills and effective ways to deal with your depression, so that when you're done with treatment you can say, okay, I'm starting to feel depressed, I'm going to do this so that I don't drink.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, not at this time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jenna, or Elizabeth, whatever your name is.